Hi guys, my name is Shikhar and welcome to your MBA Buddy channel. Today I'm going to share with you how I prepared for my ISB interview. Now most of the things that I share in this video are applicable to all the MBA interview preparations that I did. But since ISB was my first MBA interview, I had to put an effort to build a foundation upon which I could base my other MBA interview preparations. So I am sure you will find a lot of great golden nuggets in this video that can be used for your P-School interview preparations. Also, I made a separate video sharing my ISB interview experience. So if you haven't seen that video, you might want to check that out. I'll try to post a video card on this video, but definitely you can find the link in the description box below. So without much waiting, let's begin. First thing that I did was to look into my ISB application very thoroughly. I was applying to different schools back then, and different schools require you to take different approaches to the essays and the resumes so as to project yourself as the ideal candidate to that particular school. Also, it had been a while since I applied to ISB, so I wanted to be doubly sure of what I had written in my ISB application. I was aware of the fact that ISB takes blind interview, and in a blind interview, the interviewer only has access to your resume and not the GMAT scores and the essays. But it really doesn't matter because the interviewers like to take notes to your responses to the interview questions. And when the admissions committee sits together to evaluate your candidature, they wouldn't like to see two different versions of the same thing. The chances are that the admissions committee is already sold to your essays and the resumes. That is why you have an interview opportunity. And it is in the interview that they check for confidence, commitment, and consistency in your responses. While the essays are subjective and there is still scope to get away with minor inconsistencies in your responses, the resume is the objective reality. Everything that goes into it are the hard facts. So I spent time reviewing my resume so that I could defend every word in it. This exercise of reviewing my application proved really helpful in my ISB interview. I could answer questions relating to my resume and the questions like why MBA and why ISB very confidently, which I think made my candidature more appealing. The last thing that the interviewers want to see is a candidate unsure about himself. Second thing that I did was to research about the school. Now it is a never-ending process which goes on even after you have an admit. It is all the more important during the interview preparation. Knowing about the school, the interview process, and the experiences of the current students and the alumni really helped me reduce some of my anxieties and the nervousness. Some of the ways to research about the school are by using its own website, online discussion forums, Instagram, YouTube, and of course in-person events. The email promotions notified me about a workshop that the ISB was conducting at Bangalore. This was a perfect opportunity to interact with the admissions committee and the alumni of the school in a relatively informal setting. I also attended a few MBA fairs organized by the QS MBA Tour and the MBAtour.com, in which ISB would usually have a kiosk. So I would bump into them a few times and talk to them about the school. But the best way to know about the school is through the current students and the alumni. And it isn't difficult to find people in the ISB community who are willing to extend their help and mentorship. After building a solid relationship with one of the alumni, I even went to an extent to ask for a mock interview. Luckily I got that interview. She did a basic product casing with me. She asked me questions like, what is your favorite app? Which features you do not use? Which features you would like to add? And what matrix you will use to capture the user engagement, and so on and so forth. This was like buying an insurance. Luckily, I wasn't asked any questions around the product casing in my actual interview. But even if there were questions, I would have answered them very confidently because I prepared for them after this mock interview. Lastly, I did my wardrobe well in advance. Being from a software industry, I don't have any need for formals. Even for the official events, I would wear the official branded t-shirts. So I brought myself a dark blue navy suit and complemented it with the proper shoes and belt. Also, I was aware of the fact that sometimes formal need tailoring job. So I did my wardrobe 3-4 days prior to the interview date. definitely didn't want to wait until the day before my interview. So this was pretty much what I had to share with you in terms of how I prepared for my ISB interview. If you wish to share with me how you prepare for your interviews, then please write it in the comment box below. Also, if you found any value in this video, then a small token of support by subscribing the channel and liking the video will go a long way. If you wish to connect with me, you can do so on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn details are in the description box below. A small note of why you want to connect with me would be a nice touch too. Until my next video, stay safe.